he asked, this was the question they asked. He asked them, how do I deal with a spiritual high, right? How we're trying to keep like a fire going, right? A spiritual high. And like, how do I keep that going, like in my faith, right? And he basically told him, he's like, that's not the question that needs to be answered. The question that needs to be answered is we need to know, because we're at spiritual high, we can be at spiritual highs and we can be at spiritual lows. He's saying we need to know how to look for God in the lows, right? Now, hold on, let me go my page because I have my notes everywhere, y'all. when we look, look in the lows, right? So we need to know how to look for God when we're in the low seasons, right? Because here's the thing, He's here in the lows. He's also here in the highs, right? We're gonna get to that point, okay? Bear with me. We're gonna get to that point. But another thing he said, right, is when we look in the low, we only can go so low, right? When we're in that low season, we forget that we can look towards God, right? You can only go low for so long, right? That's why when we get broken down here in the lowness, we need to be looking for God. He's there with an open hand, right? In this season of low. Because here's the thing. We like to think of, oh, this season low means that's Satan, right? And season high means that's automatically God. But that's the thing. God is always here. The high praise. Also, he's here, low praise. He's got a hands on both, right? And we get rid of that line for some reason, right? So that was the one the first few points that like stuck out to me, right? And let me see what's next. What's next on the list? Let's go. All right, so let's go back to verse 1. So verse 1 says, "In my distress, I called to the Lord, and He answered me." Right, and one thing is, he answered me, right. Go to verse 2, which says, "Lord, rescue me from lying lips and a deceitful tongue." Okay, so another points that stuck out to me when he was talking about this is, if you procrastinate your praises, right, or your peace until the situation is perfect, you will never get the peace, right? Some of us like to wait for like the right moments to be worshiping God, right? That comes back to the ways of like how to grow closer with God, right? This how we can connect it to that, right? Some of y'all wait until the right